Welcome to the shooting show. This week it's a mixed bag of pest control with Geoff Garrod, shooting crows over maize and rabbits from the quad bike. Plus it's IWA 2018. We bring you all the latest news from Nuremberg.
Morning. This is going to be a first. What we're doing this morning is I've got a lot of crows turning up on the game covers, and I'm just going to have a hit at them today to try and deter them from making it sort of permanent, try and move them onto somewhere else. So we're just going to go up there before daylight, literally go and stand in the maize. I should be using a 410 hush power because of the sensitivity of where we're going to be, and we're just going to see what's going to happen. We're just going to have one go on a particular piece to start with as it gets light, and then we're going to move about and just drop into a couple more bits later on during the day, and just try and put the crows off from coming here. See what happens. Yeah, what we're doing, we just turned up at the first bit of cover. I'm just going to park my truck up in the wood. I'm going to walk out. I'm just going to stand in it and just see what happens. All I'm going to do is just stand in the maize here. As we're standing now, we'll have the wind in our backs, so I expect most of the activity just to swing round and come down onto this bit of bare ground what the crows have been feeding on, and then we'll just see what happens. I'm expecting obviously not to be noticed while it's like this sort of light, but then later on we'll make a little bit of a hide in the maize. Yeah. See?
Right above, right above, right above, right above. Coming round again, is it?
Nice start.
So first two carrions, yeah?
Huh?
First two were carrions?
I didn't notice, but I think yeah.
One was a good carrion there, definitely.
Yeah, I think one was a carrion, one was a rook. No, one was carrying. He had something in his talons.
Yeah.
That was carrying something.
Carrion something.
Yes, stood up here, see?
My fault, sorry, I thought you were up and at him.
Shells we're using are Ely 3-inch subsonic 18-gram shells. Nice little cartridge.
Coming round, isn't he?
Yeah. Right hand one. Right, it's about, I don't know, been here about a couple of hours now, and we've probably got about 10 or a dozen rooks, jackdaws, crows, probably about half a dozen pigeons, and as the sun's got up, I mean, all we're doing is just standing in the maize, right in the middle of the maize here, in the maize crop, and if the crows have got any height to them, the biggest problem we've got is that they're spotting us before we can get anywhere near shooting them. Although we put the ones out that were shot as decoys, which are working, but they are very, very keen on the eyesight and spotting us. So, but we're cracking on. We're just going to give it another half an hour here, and then we're going to up sticks, and we're going to go and have another look at another bit of maize that's been hammered by crows, and we'll see what happens there. This last one.
Whoa.
That's the hide gone.
Oh dear.
One of the things that I've done on this last bit and the bit that was on during the dinner or during the middle of the day is, because it's an exercise to try and stop the crows and corvids from coming onto the maize, some of the birds that I've shot, I've stuck a stick in the ground and I've hung them upside down. It's an old-fashioned way of keeping the rest of the crows off. So I've done 3 on this bit of cover that we're at now. I've done 3 or 4 on the last bit of cover, and that's purely and simply to deter the rest of the corvids from coming on there and devouring all the maize.
I'll get that pigeon.
Right, well that's it for the day. The exercise of the day, I've got 2 or 3 bits of cover strips, maize, that crows, rooks and jackdaws have just started on, and if left to their own device they will strip it, they'll get more and more get on it, and they'll strip the maize of all feed value. It's obviously put there for feeding of other birds. So what I've done today, I've came up here first light and we got into a bit of cover. We sat there for a couple of 3 hours and we had about a dozen rooks, jackdaws and crows and 1 or 2 pigeons. We then went and had some breakfast and we went on to another piece of cover. Got into a little line of flight of pigeons, so being a pigeon man, I couldn't resist a challenge, and we had we finished up, I think it was 15 pigeons, so pleased with that. And we've got about, I think it's 22, maybe 23 in total of corvids, so I'm pleased with that. So all in all, the day, it's been hard. The sun, the brightness of the day meant that any slightest movement in the maize and we were spotted. But I'm happy with what I've done to stop the crows and that coming onto the maize. Yeah, the other thing about today, which has made it a lot harder because it's the first time I've done it, I've been shooting with a 410. One very valid reason for that today is the piece of cover that I've been on are very sensitive with game birds, etc. So with the 410 being a hush power silenced gun and with subsonic cartridges, the noise value has been very, very low, so not to disturb any other birds that have been in the cover. But it's made it a little bit difficult on the crows, but we've got there in the end, and that was the main reason of me using the silenced 410 with the Ely subsonic 3-inch cartridges. Right, it's that time of year, autumn time, and I'm just going to go and have a look, see what the rabbit situation is. There's 1 or 2 about, but not as many as the farmers would lead you to believe. But we're going to have a little ride around tonight. I've got the 20 bore, got some Ely VIP 30 gram 5-shot, 20 bore to do the job, and we'll just cruise around and see what we've got. We've got my auto on board in case we run into Mr. Fox, and we'll see what happens.
How are we getting on?
What?
How are we getting on?
What? How many were shot?
Yeah.
Well, one simple answer there is there's not many rabbits about. I mean, we've done a lot of acreage.
Yeah.
I think we've shot at 7 and we've got 5.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of rabbits about, but we'll just carry on to see what we can get. Lead them, who's breathing.
Bit like last time, wasn't it?
Right. I've been on this place a few years, and the first time rabbit shooting in the autumn normally produces a good amount. That's the least amount of rabbits I've ever seen, which is good, because they won't be eating the farmer's crops, so I'll be in the farmer's good books. We've been after the vermin. We started off on the crows, and we had a limited success. I was shooting the silenced 410 purely and simply because of where I was after the crows, in very sensitive spots next to woods. Didn't want to disturb the game too much, and that's where the 410 with the Ely subsonic 3-inch cartridges comes into force. We did manage to get 20, 25 I think it was, and a few pigeons, so it wasn't a complete waste of time. And tonight, we've gone out tonight, have a look for the rabbits, and been shooting the 20 bore, and as you can see, we've done a lot of miles tonight for 8 rabbits, which, as I said, it's the least amount of rabbits I've ever seen on this place since I've been here. So it's a thumbs up for the farmer's crops.
Geoff doing some great pest control there with a 20 bar and 410. And now it's an IWA News special.
This is the Shooting Show News. Tonight we're live from IWA in Nuremberg. The biggest shooting trade show on the continent by a mile, IWA is where the major product launches are made for the coming year. We checked in on the big boys of the industry to see what they had to offer. Swarovski is always home to a new product launch, and this year they had 2. There's a new low magnification scope and an eye-catching pair of binos.
The main topic for us this year on IWA is driven hunting, and therefore we developed a totally new rifle scope, which is our driven hunt specialist. It is a 0.75 to 6x20. We have the novelty of a 0.75 times magnification, which gives us a large field of view, of 56 meters at 100 meters. And this gives you a clear overview at all time and at all hunting situations. So it is specifically designed for shooting on short ranges and shooting on moving targets. We ensured a very easy handling due to that we have placed all the operating elements on the same positions than we have them on the existing ZXi ones. And we have a new function which is called our click 1. This is a tangible click at the 1x magnification that tells you very intuitively that you have reached the 1x and is your indicator for entering the view plus area, which is between the 1x and the 0.75x magnification. Wild boar populations, deer populations are getting more and more almost all over Europe. Driven hunts are getting more and more popular, and that's one of the reasons why we developed the rifle scope specifically for this kind of hunting. And we also offer in the new rifle scope a new reticle, which is our DI reticle, and this is just an illuminated central aiming point, which makes shooting more intuitive. The color orange is getting more and more popular as a signal color, which makes sense on driven hunts, and in general it makes sense. Our new ELO range, it is a word game between the color orange and the range for the distance, for the name distance. We offer two different models, a 10x42 and a 8x42, and our new ELO range, created to be found, is the headline for this new product. It offers an outstanding optical quality, same than our green ones. It is a very ergonomic product with the wrap-around grip, and you have a precise angle and distance measurement in it. So you're a perfect companion for every kind of hunting.
Tikka didn't have a big new product to show us, instead they had a small one. It's the compact T1X rimfire.
Here is the T1X MTR. The MTR stands for multitask rimfire. From the very first beginning we wanted to introduce a rimfire rifle that would speak to many people and to big audience. So we wanted this rifle to suit in the many occasions. That's why we selected, for example, semi-heavy barrel profile instead of going to very light one or the vermin one. Two different calibers, 22 long rifle and a 17/8 on MAR, both offered with the really nice synthetic 10-round magazine. The bolt is made from stainless steel. It has a steel bolt handle. Then we have semi-heavy barrel profile in two different barrel lengths, 20-inch and the short one 16-inch, and all come with the threading. We have two threadings, half by 20 and half by 28. On top of the receiver we have 11mm rail, and the synthetic stock itself is the exact same one as we use for the T3X, and that rounds us to the very interesting point that this footprint of this action is actually the same that we're using for the T3X. So you can drop this barrel action to any existing aftermarket stock that accepts the Tikka synthetic magazines on the bottom side. So all in all, this rifle is really a continuation from the T3X line, just in a smaller rimfire caliber.
Browning's Marl straight pull has been growing in popularity, and they had two new models to show us.
You must know that the Marl is the fastest straight pull rifle on the market. Why it's the fastest? First, because you do not have to push back the bolt when you take it to reload. So you just release it and it's loaded, ready to fire. So this year we are really proud to launch the composite version of the Marl. We only had the wood version before. We keep the same features, making the success of this rifle, so high accuracy, nearly as close as a bolt action rifle, and the speed. You have different features, making of this rifle very safe and comfortable to use. I mean, for instance, when I speak about safety, the hand-cocking system over here, but also the 7 lockers inside that confines the bolt inside the rifle. It's also comfortable because you have the adjustable com, so you can make sure that you always have the eye perfectly aligned with the scope. In the box, we deliver 3 different buttstocks, so you make sure that you can have the perfect stock adapted to your morphology. So as I told you, we have the Marl composites, but you do not have only one Marl composite, we have 2 Marl composites. So I have in my hands the Nordic one, but you have also the brown one. People do not want especially or do not have the budget to buy 10 different rifles for 10 different use. They need one good gun, polyvalent, they can rely on. So that's where the Marl comes. It has a high accuracy, but it has also the speed necessary for instance, driven hunt on wild boars in Europe, not in the UK, but it has the speed necessary for that. So with this rifle, you can meet all your needs with the same rifle.
Plus, Browning has moved into the world of ammunition.
as Browning has for vocation to totally equip the hunter, so in terms of clothing, guns of course, it seems totally logic for us to propose some ammunition. So when it comes to the Browning ammunition, the first thing you will see in the gun shop is the nice design, but also the chrome design of the ammunition. We launched them in the US last year, and so now we are really proud to launch them in the European market. So you have two references, the BXR, which is for medium game. So this ammunition offers a large impact, diameter impact, with a hollow point and a matrix tip, so it's a mix of polymer and copper, which will guarantee a really fast expansion and so a massive knockdown power. This is the main point about this ammunition. The second one, the BXC, is a bonded bullet. The bonded bullet will have the different goal, the different purposes. It will penetrate the animal, break the bones, and then start an expansion, but not as violent expansion. The damage on the meat will be totally or nearly inexistent. And just in case if you do not kill the animal with your first bullet, and if the animal is wounded, you will have an exit hole, and so you can track it with dogs.
From rifles to shotguns, a new Beretta game gun was turning heads.
This gun opens a new chapter in Beretta's story and represents our most important launch for the year 2019. First of all, this gun is a 12 gauge. This gun is endowed with a solid walnut wood, grade 4, and is available in a different barrel lengths, 26, 28, 30 and 32 inches. And the gun shows a lot of aesthetical and how can I say, technical solution we derived from our top platform. For instance, the locking system is derived from the SO10 with an axial lock, which makes the opening of the gun very smooth and soft. The trigger pull is very fast due to the hammer leaf spring, plus the ejector have been completely redesigned so that the operation of cleaning and inspection are much easier to carry out. And also, this gun features a laser engraving. It's being made with a technology we developed together with a partner. My favorite thing about it is basically the possibility to choose from different engravings. I'd personally go for the mirror polish version, which has no engraving but require no less than 80 hours of handmade polishing of the side plates and the receiver. And I like it a lot because it's very clean, slim, perfect. I like it.
And if you want some classic cartridges to load your new gun with, check out the new additions to the Ely Hawk range.
This year we're bringing 2 new products to the market. We found that there was a growing number of people going back to classic guns with their true 2.5-inch chambers. So we felt that it was right to launch the Grand Prix Traditional and the Impacts Traditional. These were loads that people used in their side-by-sides as they grew up, and we really felt that it was time to revisit those loads and bring them back again in a true 65mm cartridge length. We did that with the Grand Prix, so it comes in a 30 gram, 5 and 6 shot in fibre. And then we did that with the Ely Traditional Impacts. That was, we brought that out in a 28 gram, 6 and 7 for the smaller game. So within these 2 cartridges, you've got everything for your side-by-side gun that will actually work right way through the season for those people who like to shoot using an old-style English traditional gun. We've seen a big resurgence in it and a lot more people shooting with them. So really responding to market demand and consumers, and the reception here has been great for it. This year we'll be doing quite a lot of events. The next nearest one to IWA is the Northern Shooting Show. So we'll be up there at the Yorkshire Showground with everybody else sponsoring the Ely Hawk clay line with prizes and with cartridges to buy and for people to try as well on the gun line. So there'll be plenty of cartridges that people can try out from Ely Hawk. The second thing we'll be working on is the English Sporting Open with the Ackling Grenton Lang down in St Albans way. So that'll be really good for us and for the clay shooting. Then off the back of that, we'll then jump immediately into the I think the Beretta World straight after that, and then Benelli, and then we're also doing the TTL weekend again with the CPSA up in Bywell. So it's going to be a busy year. Amber will be shooting down in the Commonwealth Games as well. So there's going to be a lot going on that we're really looking forward to.
Deerhunter had a whole new range on display with female shooters in mind.
So this is our part of our ladies collection. We've got 4 new jackets in the collection and 3 new trousers. We believe there's a big demand for ladies at the moment, so obviously we've added it to our extensive collection already. We found a lot of ladies were getting by with men's clothing and they really needed something that fitted better, looked better in the field, made them feel good about their sport as well as ours. So this is number 1, Lady Christina. We do 2 trouser options in this particular suit. So we have a soft leg trouser and also a high Tina trouser. So if you were beating or even stalking, hillside stalking, you might want something with a more protected leg. Then we've got a heavier weight jacket, which is called Lady Mary, and this really extends off of the men's range, which is the Mouflon range. So this is the ladies' version of that. And then we've got Lady Josephine, which is our game shooting jacket. Very lightweight, thinsulate material, very warm. All of our jackets are really well fitted. We've got from game shooting to stalking to beating, even to dog walking. You know, our Josephine collection, you could wear that to the pub, you could wear it dog walking. It's a country style jacket. So.
And finally, there's a new development in the world of night vision thanks to ATN.
With the 4K, what we've actually done to get the 4K in, we've actually, as you can see, we've reshaped, given it a complete full revamp. So we've made it look more traditional, more of a traditional scope, so it's a lot easier on the eye. It appeals more to the younger generation and the older generation as well. So we've actually moved a few things around, where you can see now we've actually got the core behind the lens, and we've actually got the battery, built-in battery. So no more battery packs, no more lithiums, all built inside now. So 18 hours you'll get. We've made the lens a little bit easier to turn around. We've now got a better eye relief. You probably get about 3 to 4 inches of eye relief on the scope. We've even now got 30mm rings on, so it's completely opened up to a lot more rifles. It's fantastic. The awareness ATN has to everybody is absolutely phenomenal. It works. It's such a strong brand in the market. It's very easy to use. We almost say it's pretty sexy, really. It's quite a sexy scope.
That's all from IWA. That was the Shooting Show News.
Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And if you're not a member of BASC, it's time to join now. BASC, looking after your sport, looking after you. This has been The Shooting Show.